RightonQuelive, and we are live, and I have a very excited guest. I like the energy. Yes! Apparently, I would never have thought this is our first podcast interview ever.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Let me really think about that. I don't want to like disrespect.
No, gas
nobody.
me up though. No, say this your first. Fuck everybody else. This your first.
Yeah. I mean, in the last like year.
Oh, wait, introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is TheAkasha. I'm the DJ's favorite DJ.
Talk heavy.
You know, so to be your favorite DJ, it's me.
Talk heavy. Okay, say what you were saying.
Oh yeah. This is definitely actually. Wow. I'm so sorry. I did a group podcast in Chicago a couple months ago, maybe 2 months ago, when I was on my micro tour. Down with the T. Let me not even.
T, fuck everybody.
Oh shit.
Fuck Chicago. You know my dad lived there. But it's cool.
I don't want to be rude, but yeah, I was on a group podcast. But this I would say is my first solo podcast.
Appreciate it. That's all that matters.
Weird.
So on that note, tell people more about yourself. Why are you TheAkasha? Why are you people's favorite DJs? Your personal style. Where you may be known for your certain events, so on and so forth.
Oh, that's a lot. Okay, so I'm TheAkasha because it's a funny story. My mom just used to size me, like when I was younger, when I was like 7, like my mom just used to tell me, there's other people named Akasha, but you're TheAkasha. Like my mom always. Yeah. Akasha is an Indian name, so like I went to school with a lot of Indian boys named Akash, but Akasha is the feminine version of the name. Yeah.
Oh, continue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Akasha Richmond.
Moms.
Where Akasha Richmond is actually a really famous chef, like somewhere in Cali. So like that's the only like there's a band named Akasha somewhere in Europe.
All right.
Yeah. So the name is a name, but my mom always used to just gas me. Like she just used to gas my shit.
Wait, my name is the only name.
How do you pronounce your name?
What was your guess?
I wanted to say Quaid, but Quaid.
Wrong. Q-Day.
Q-Day, that's cool.
The one the Q-Day, the one and only.
Is it supposed to have an accent?
There is an accent. Shout out to Mom. She hates when I don't put it.
Yeah, because I saw your email.
She's very strict about it. Yeah, like, why don't you just put it? I'm like, people don't know.
Yeah, the accent work.
Shout out to your moms, continue with that whole.
Yeah, but she just used to gas me all the time, and like I would say like at a young age, my mom always she gave me like a high self-esteem. Like she always told me like, you're special. You can do anything you want to. Yeah, you're TheAkasha. So like when it was time for me to pick a DJ name, I wanted to be DJ Fifth Element because what'd you say?
Shout out to that movie.
Oh yeah, so like Akasha in Buddhist philosophy and like some Jainism is like known as the basis of the metaphysical world. So it's kind of like the fifth element is where water, air, fire, and earth came from. It's also known as like spirit in some ideologies. So I wanted to be DJ Fifth Element, but when I looked that up, there's some dude in Germany that's killing it right now. DJ Fifth Element.
And he just does it with the 5, or he spells it out. I'm just curious.
I think he just spells it out. Yeah, but I wanted to be DJ Fifth Element. I think that's a cool ass name, but I just was like, what should I do? If I don't want to be DJ Fifth Element, I don't really want to be DJ Akasha. I thought that was a little whack. So I was just like, I'm going to drop the DJ and just keep TheAkasha. So.
Personally, I like that better than DJ Fifth Element. Like,
yeah, I feel like it's a little more me.
DJ. Nigga, everybody's a DJ. So also, just looking through everything you do, see how you do more than just DJing per se. You never want to limit yourself to that skill set per se. So where do those aspirations come from, and those other skills and interests? Where those come from?
So.
And what all do you do? What do you bring to the table?
So right now, I'm branding myself primarily as a DJ, but I am also.
It's like real visual with your Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm also branding myself as a music video director because that's a passion of mine that I'm just starting to get into. I've directed 2 music videos for Bree Steves. I just had one come out with Saturn Alexander.
Shout out to her Jealousy song. I really like that song.
Yeah, she's dope. She putting on for the city. But yeah, I want to just creatively direct, but I feel like creative directors are an overused term now, and it's really ambiguous.
It's kind of played out, yeah. It's kind of it had its run.
Yeah, so I just like to brand myself as a visual director. I'm trying to think, like, where did I start? Both my parents are pretty creative. My dad is really funny, He used to write like jokes and stuff and like do his comedic shit back in the day. And my mom, she's a painter. She went to school for fashion design. She went to Parsons. So I always had a kind of artistic influence around me. So like my mom had me painting at like 3 years old. Like my mom never bought me baby dolls. The only like girly toy she ever bought me was like Barbies. I always had Legos. I always had Connects. I always had like Playmobil stuff. Like my mom would buy me weird ass toys from Europe. Like yeah, so like I was always creating. When I turned like 6 or 7, my mom put me in like violin and piano. So I was always.
You still play?
I remember what the strings are, but.
Me either. I took piano for 4 years.
Yeah. Oh well, piano I can still play because that's a little. I know a couple songs and I can still read music pretty good.
Yeah, I was a nagger. Like they was like,
Word.
we gotta learn how to read study. I'm like, nigga, just I wanna learn how to play Alicia Keys' Diary. That's all I got. I don't got time to be reading drumline. And it's gone.
Speaking of drumline, I just remembered this. Wow, I was on like a percussion team that we played like buckets. You know how they like little kids do the bucket? Yeah, so I did the bucket squad in like 5th grade. And then when I got to like 6th grade, I joined the choir. I fell in love with the choir. In 7th grade, I applied to be in this preparatory program at a college in my city, at a university actually. And I started singing opera. So that was my thing from 7th grade all through high school. That was like my major. I fell in love with it. And then when it came time to apply to colleges, I auditioned to all of the music schools. I wanted to be a classical voice major. And I had a friend, actually an old friend that was significantly older than me, but he was always like talking about Temple. So I was just like, you know, I just had a brother and sister. I'm like 16 years the oldest. But I don't want to go too far. I want to go somewhere that's cool, somewhere that's kind of like New York, but I don't want to be like close enough to home. Like I want to get away from my parents for the first time and just be out here.
Where are you from again?
So I'm from Jersey City, New Jersey.
Gotcha.
So yeah, Philly was like the perfect place. I had been there a couple times because my stepdad, rest his soul, he just passed. But my stepdad, he spent a lot of his younger years in Philly, a lot of his young adult years in Philly. So I had just started discovering this city with my mom and my stepdad. We had came to Philly, you know, just random trips to get cheesesteaks and stuff because he lived in South Jersey.
Always in Philly.
What? You already know. But I fell in love with the city and the culture. I loved that there were murals and stuff everywhere. And I was like, I want to go to school in Philly. So when I started looking up schools in Philly, you know, Drexel's like an engineering school. It was just, you know, Temple was just the best choice for me. So I auditioned to go to Temple. I passed my audition with flying colors. I was going to be in the music school, but because of the way my magnet program was set up in high school, my GPA was like sus to them. Like, hard. I was mad stressed. Like, I'm not doing that again. So I picked the next best thing, and I went to Temple as, at the time it was called BTMM, but now it's oh God, the name of the major has changed so many times. By the time I graduated, it was a media studies and production with a concentration in audio engineering. So my plan was to do that and minor in the whole classical voice thing, but it didn't work out. So I wound up just singing for Temple choirs like up to my sophomore year, and then they kind of were like, the tuition is more here, so either you're gonna change your major, or we can't have you take any more of the same class. So yeah, so that's kind of like everything.
Then you just like, fuck this opera shit, I'm a DJ.
And that's the thing, like opera is such a huge passion for me still, but like there's no outlets unless I'm really gonna get a voice trainer and go and audition for the Met, because the people that are in the general Met chorus like under contract, they start at 100K. Like I could do it, but at the end of the day, like when it comes to classical voice, if I'm not going to be a teacher, they don't give a fuck if I got a degree. They just want to know, can I sing or not, you know? So that's kind of the type of thing where I'm just like, if I want to do it on my own, I'm always, there's no age limit on that. As long as I keep my voice good, I'll be able to sing whenever. But once I got into audio engineering, audio production, and I was in class with producers and DJs, I kind of was like, I want to know more about this. This is dope. Like, DJing is always something I wanted to do. I always looked up to Vashti Kola. That's where the whole DJ music video thing came about. And I was like, wow, I have the opportunity to sit in class with these people who have been doing this for years. Like, I'm going to make friends with some of these people. I'm going to go to gigs. I'm going to see what they do. I'm going to see what I can soak up. And long story short, I wound up meeting DJ Lane with it. And he was just so gung-ho about just teaching me how to DJ for the love. Like, yeah, like, at the time, he was giving people lessons, but I guess some people were just kind of coming when they felt like it, and nobody was really serious, but I was really there every time I could be there, and he taught me most of the basic stuff I knew starting out, and now it's been 3 years in, and I love it.
3 years.
So, yeah.
So, right now, just a quick. What's your go-to? Let's say, give me like 5 go-to songs when you DJ in an event. Of course, it depends on the event, but it's general.
Yeah, well,
that you know you gotta hit.
Whenever I'm doing an open format set, I definitely always try to play Beyonce Blow because women just love that song. I try to play for the women because I realize in a party setting, if the women are dancing and they're chilling and they're drinking, that means everybody's going to be chilling and drinking and having a great time. So I definitely try to play for women, but Blow.
That was the one Beyonce album I didn't give that much burn. So if I heard that song, I probably know about the top of my head.
That's the Can You Lick My Skin? It's the sweetest in the middle. It's the one where the video she's like in a roller skating rink. Okay,
I remember the video.
Yeah, so it's that song.
I'm listening to it tonight.
Let's see what else.
Blow. There's more.
I definitely try to play. See, I hate playing the same songs over. I hate go-to songs. I'm always like beating myself up about that. I'm gonna say right now there's a Sango mix. That's fuck, I can't remember the name of that Kendrick song. With that high pitch song, with that high pitch. Yes, that why you emotional? Bitch, you emotional? Yeah. Big Shot.
Big Shot.
Yeah. Is that the name of the song?
Big Shot, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, you can tell my file names because I don't know nothing. But yeah, Sango did a mix of that. That's really good. That I like to mix in there. Oh, Moneybag. The beat to Moneybag is just ill.
Okay.
There's a Jersey club mix to Moneybag that Unique created that I love playing because now that I'm back home, especially because I just moved back to Jersey maybe like 8 to 9 months ago. I try to put Jersey Club in my sets because I just really like. Sierra just came out with that new song Level Up too. Like Jersey Club is starting to make headway again.
Did you like the Drake to the Max?
I do actually really like that song.
Like nobody gave it love.
You know why nobody gave it love? Because he stole that beat from J Hood and DJ Slink, I think. And their drop is still in the sample. Like, it'd be one thing if they just stole the beat.
Khaled gave me the beat. I rapped on it. Like, I thought, like,
I don't know.
I just do my job.
I feel like that's why I didn't get as much love. I know Jersey wasn't showing that track no love because it's just like, yo, like, you got to pay our gatekeepers. And the crazy thing about, like, DJs like Slink and J Hood, I was listening to them in 6th grade. So, like, when it comes to that stealing Jersey Club shit, like, I take that seriously.
You remember the Jersey Club LimeWire days and Baltimore remix?
Yeah. Word. Let me see. Is that 3 songs?
That was 3 if you got to.
What else do I play? I really like to mix Sierra's O with things when I can.
That's John Luda, right?
Yeah. Just because the first couple like bars of that beat where it's just no vocals over it is just so tough, and that just blends so well with other songs.
Okay.
That and let's see, a last one. I don't know.
I like these picks because they're very obscure.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing I do like to do too, because I just get my music off wherever I can get it from. So like a lot of mainstream stuff that comes out, a lot of new stuff, I just never have. And then 9 times out of 10, when I'm on a bill with another DJ, they're playing all of that stuff anyway, so I never have to. So there's also a track called Corshine Voodoo that a producer Lone made that I really like. The genre is kind of like aquatic house. That's what I like to call it anyway. So I really like music that sounds like that. Like house music, I like bouncy stuff with like SpongeBob-y sounds. And that beat actually was used by Azalea Banks for Miss Amore, I think.
Definitely Azalea Banks type shit.
Yeah. So I love Azalea Banks, but I love her beats too. So like I'll play Azalea Banks, but then I also like to dig and find out who's the producer that made this beat, because that shit, like I would just play this.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Okay. Recently there's been like a hot topic about the idea of what is being self-made. Are you familiar? Just because of Kylie, the Forbes shit.
Oh yeah, with Kylie.
Yeah, so like, what do you think about that? So what is like being self-made to you? Is she self-made? You know, general thoughts.
It's who self-made?
Kylie.
So I try to unplug from pop culture. I don't know anything about what she's done or what she's doing to even have to be able to form an educated opinion.
To my real quick run through, to my knowledge, she just done like lifestyle type shit, a makeup line.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure she did some modeling thing.
Yeah.
Emojis type, you know, shit that Kim has done, but just for whatever reason did it to a bigger level, and now supposedly to be a billionaire. Or billionaire net worth, whatever. And people saying self-made billionaire, and some people saying like, how is bitch self-made billionaire?
Well, self-made to me is I don't know. See, that's such a hard. I did see that actually floating around Twitter. That's such a hard thing because self-made can be defined by so many things. Now, that in particular, when you come from great, like excessive generational wealth, it's kind of hard for you to say that you are self-made. But at the same time, like, I don't want to invalidate anybody else's experience because you could have generational wealth in your family and not have any access to that money. I don't
or
personally,
fuck it up.
Yeah, or fuck it up completely and or just sit on it and not multiply it. So like, I don't personally know her experience to say like she's not self-made. Fuck that. Her family has all this money, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's a little sus. It's a little sus. It's easy for people who aren't born into that type of wealth to say like that person's not self-made because their family had this, but you don't really know their situation to say like, oh yeah, their family, they had nothing because they're a child. Then their family gave them $10K and then they flipped that into $1 billion. I feel like if somebody gave me a $10K loan and I flipped that into $1 billion, I would be self-made. So, like, with that being said, it's kind of hard to judge her as an individual because I don't know, you know? But at the same time, there are so many factors more than money that, I don't know, that might have generated her wealth. Just the fame, the fortune, like...
Yeah. So I definitely appreciate and agree with a lot of things you would say. Only thing I would say, like you said, you were going back and forth with it. And I agree. If someone give you a quote-unquote small amount of money and you flip it to 10 times worth that, and someone be like, nigga, I had to get my own money. You ain't self-made. I'm self-made. I look at it like, no, they can still be self-made, but I feel like I wouldn't say she isn't because everything she's done has been an extension of what her people have done. Like it ain't like she became an astronaut or something.
That's
like,
very true. That's very true.
Started with the reality show and started doing more reality show type shit.
That's
like
very
true.
True.
Like you stole lip liner shit for your fake lips, like, which is fine. That's hustling. Nobody's saying you dumb per se, but in
hindsight, the Kardashians never had a lot of money. Like, you know, back in the day, like their dad. Yeah, well, it depends. It also depends on what you call a lot because, like, I think their mom is a fucking genius. Like, it's whack. I don't like what they stand for. That's why I disconnect myself from following up with them. Yeah, but you have to at some point say like, yo, like, she really was Paris Hilton's assistant, and now she's 10 times more relevant than Paris Hilton. People of this generation don't, like, kids of this generation, 16, maybe younger than that, they don't know who Paris Hilton is, but they know who Kim Kardashian is. So to a certain extent, like, you have to say, like, okay, that's a certain level of self-madeness, but then again, it depends on how you define being self-made.
I feel you can break down everything to, like, well, nigga, somebody gave you a hand because nobody can do anything by himself.
Exactly, no man is an island.
Michael Jordan is self-made, but he still self-made. You know, his dad sent him to college because some niggas like, nigga, I had to pay for my own education. Nigga, he's still self-made.
And that's a lot of things just with athletes in general that go to college and make it to the league. Like, I know a lot of people that know athletes. I know a lot of athletes, and they get handouts. Like, if you one of them kids that be traveling and be on some AAU, like, I mean, of course there's levels. Some people come from the hood, some people come from the suburbs. But once you get on a certain level of, like, athleticism in that industry, now people are literally giving you things, passing your grades along if you're a shitty person in school and academia, just so that you can play the game tonight. You know, so it really depends. Like, it's a fine line, and it's one that is like, I feel like everybody's gonna gauge it differently, because at one point do you say I did this by myself, I'm totally self-made, because like you said, no man is an island, nobody does everything 100% by themselves. Of course, like there's a fine line between working for something and getting opportunities that you earned and getting a handout, but then again, it's like sometimes there's gray area. Where's the gray area?
Nuance to something. Yeah, but I just think overall, if you had to like put like some type of black to the gray situation, it's like if you were given like a certain platform and kind of stayed in the realm of that platform, or I feel like if like, I'm not saying she gotta be poor, like, mom, I don't want your money. But I guess like if she like, no, I'm not gonna go to reality TV realm. I'm gonna stay in the background. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, like, you know, a lot. For instance, Will Smith. Everybody know Jay and Willow. But a lot of people don't know that Will has an older son from his first baby mom, whatever. So let's say this whole time he was like a fucking music producer. Not a music producer. Let's say he was a painter. Like,
but that's the thing. Would you say that Jada Smith is self-made? Because he also came from money, but look, he got the water thing going on.
He did it his own way.
That's what I'm saying.
But he still was in movies with his dad that his dad produced. But music has been bigger for him, more impactful than the act in the movie.
But at the same time, I feel like the whole him being in movies as a kid thing, that's generational wealth. That's what we need to be doing to our children.
Yeah, nobody's saying you gotta make it hard.
Yeah,
like,
but that's the thing. Is being self-made about struggling, or is it about doing it yourself? I think it's
kind of like carving your own shit from the jump. Like Jaden, I feel he didn't carve his own way from the jump. He's grew into his own self. But I think if you gotta carve it from the jump, like if his Will older son was doing all this shit this whole time, or Damon Dash son, he always, when he, remember the Breakfast Club interview, like my son sell cookies, da da da. To me, that's maybe a little more self-made because nobody fucking knew this. He's not around saying this Rockefeller cookies. He had his own shit. He started his own business, opened up a business, and it became what it was. What it is, I don't know if it's even still open, but to me, that's more of like a self-made. It has nothing to do with your dad, really, or Jay-Z or whatever. Just your own business. Your dad may give you some money, possibly, but it wasn't connected to this tree.
The name, yeah, I feel you.
I think maybe that's in the realm of like what I would think is something.
It's kind of like the fine line between networking and cloud chasing. There's a very fine line.
Nice. What was it? I've been seeing this. Speaking of just like clout and trigger phrases on the internet, I've been seeing recently a phrase saying the futurist female. So what does that mean? Yeah, what does that mean? See, I've seen on people make a t-shirt any second. So I've been seeing on t-shirts mainly. So when you hear that phrase, what does that mean to you?
I feel like futurism is all about seeing a future that is not necessarily like a utopia, but is a future that other people can't see. Like, for example, I was having a conversation on Twitter today with two ladies whose opinions and perspectives I very much appreciate. And they were kind of on two sides of a coin about toxic femininity. That was a topic coming up about, because we know what toxic masculinity is, but now, there are a lot of misandrists, on the internet that are just, men are trash, fuck men, blah, blah, blah. And I have my own thoughts and theories about that conversation, but basically the conversation between the three of us got to, there's no such thing as toxic femininity, and
same like as black who can be racist, I guess.
Yeah, actually, yeah. The one of the girls in the discussion, she was actually saying like it's kind of like reverse racism. Women, toxic femininity can never be a thing because it's not systemic. But I was, and the crazy thing is, in the whole conversation, I was agreeing with both points, because on one side of the coin, you can't really see far past what we've experienced and what our grandparents have experienced. And, but I also feel like change and evolution happens at such a slow rate that it's going to take hundreds of generations for us to one day see, as a species, toxic femininity as a systemic issue. Right now, this is laying the foundation for it, just all of this misandry and, all of that. And I think it's possible for us to get there. I don't think we'll see it in this lifetime, but I think it's possible for us to get there. And one of the other girls that was in the conversation with us, she was just saying like, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. I feel like she had more of a forward-thinking way of thinking about it, because she was just saying, instead of fighting the bad, let's just do more good. And eventually, like, that will fizzle itself out. And I felt like that thought within itself, why the other girl couldn't really see that or agree with that, is because that was such a forward-thinking, futurist thought that it kind of seemed like nonsense, And I understood both sides of the coin again, but I don't know. I feel like a futurist female is, just really envisioning a future and moving and going farther past envisioning the future and working to create a future that other people can't really see yet, because it's so far from where we're living and what we're doing. Futurism is actually really cool. I'm really into Afrofuturist art. Like,
shout out to Jeff Manning.
Word, yo, he's so dope. Not Jeff. It's the cool.
Yeah. When I hear, I think about it. One, I think about a lot of like toxic males that I personally know, and they look at like this, this purge era we're in right now, where a lot of like fucked up trash men are getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Men are speaking up and voicing their frustration with shit been going on in this society forever. And a lot of men be like, yo, women trying to take over, they trying to get men in the dungeons, and as a futurist female. But for me, I just look at it as like, the future is female as far as like we not taking shit no more. It's gonna be a more even. Oh, I also feel like
you good.
Sorry, I also feel like I do believe there is like a very like extreme reaction to women have been taken in regards to men, which is kind of understandable because men been drawing for centuries.
Yeah, that's kind of what we need to get that shit out of here.
It kind of got to go this way just to get back into the middle a little bit. So the future female can be like, yo, women gonna run shit for a while. They gonna like really step on our necks. But eventually we'll get to like a sweet spot in the middle where we can coexist and be like, yo, like we kind of do. Hopefully, or y'all can have y'all own run for the next couple of centuries and really fucking draw on us. But we kind of owe us, some slaps.
See, and that's so crazy because I have that exact theory like in my head. Like me and my dad actually were talking about this for a while because my dad is pretty old school, but he's also pretty open minded. So like, there's been a lot of trans issues in the news, trans representation, and my dad has talked to people just on the internet. Cause my dad just be on the internet. He's retired. He be chilling. And we had this conversation about how like we're entering this era, not only where women are going to rule, but feminine energy is going to rule. Masculine energy has been,
destructive.
Yeah, just pretty destructive because we've only been on that extreme. But now, feminine energy is coming in with the quickness and with the intensity. And my dad kind of broke it down like this in a generational way. Like the baby boomers, they were all about revolutionary shit, like fucking shit up, not taking nothing. They killed them all. Then they had Generation X and Generation Y. They didn't know what was gonna come from the children of revolutionary, so they just threw them crack and AIDS and was like, nah, we gonna try to kill y'all too. So we are the children of those kids, and we're trauma babies. So not everybody's super empathetic, super emotional, super sensitive, and it's good to a certain extent. But what I see, especially on the internet and just cancel culture and just how everyone's so reactive emotionally, I see that being more of a detriment to us as a generation than a superpower because of the way we're using it and because we're so reactive. And I feel like that whole emotional wave is feminine energy coming back to take over. But I feel like the downfall of our species, and any story you look at in history, any mythological anything, I feel like the downfall of our species is we know no balance. So just how we've been on one end of the pendulum, I feel like we're going to swing far to the other end. And it's not necessarily going to be better. It's just going to be different.
Yeah, work in a different way.
Yeah, so I feel like on the way there, we're going to feel some type of balance, even if only for a blink. But we're going to eventually, it might take thousands of years for us to get there again, but I feel like we're going to be on the other end of the pendulum where toxic femininity is going to be a thing and nobody's even going to remember now. I don't know what the future will look like, but I feel like that within itself is somewhat of a futurist female theory.
Gotcha.
That might also be an unpopular opinion because a lot of women are just like, nah, fuck that.
And speaking of feminine energy and like futurist type things, the other day I was thinking about like I was having a conversation. I had several conversations about like babies' last names, and a lot of men, even the most open-minded, progressive type men, they be like, where they draw the line at progression, like the baby gonna have my last name though. And I was just thinking about it, it's like, cause one, I was like, first I was like, everybody should have hyphenated names, cause it just makes sense where it's like two parents, one baby, one last name. But then I was like,
which one do you pick? When you have because like if I had a hyphenated name and my partner had a hyphenated name and we have a baby, is that baby gonna have 4 last names? Which one do you pick? See,
you got me. See, I would just stop at like, personally, I just hate hyphenated names anyway though. But I was like in my mind like that just makes sense though. But you're right, it's gonna keep being more and more names. So you're right, that's all anyway. Then I was like, in this futuristic female world, I like eventually women gonna be like, wait, niggas, first of all, this concept, this traditionalist concept never made sense in the first place. Because niggas, we carrying the baby, we pushing the shit out. Yeah. What the fuck you gotta have your name for? Like it really makes no sense for real.
Where I feel like at some point it served a purpose because like back then, like, you know, the man was like
the lineages and
the whole lineage shit
and all that
and then,
shit.
so it's like, oh, like my dad has this legacy, so like, when I go out into the world and I'm a self-made individual, when people hear my last name, they know my lineage, they know my grandfather, my forefathers, they know what we did, you know. But now I don't know, like that's an interesting thought. I personally don't really want to have any kids, or I'm not trying to think about that now. So I wouldn't know, but like I just like my last name.
And that's I feel like a lot of people, your last name is really trash. It was like, man or woman, you probably should just change it anyway. But then I was like, even though I kind of feel that way, like, women, y'all really shouldn't be giving up. And then it's like, honestly, how women, when they get married and they take the dude's name, then they divorce and they keep the name, that whole thing is just weird to me, whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even though I have all these thoughts,
my mom did that.
My kid still has that my last name though. Like, in the future, y'all can do that, but now my kids, I can't rock it. I can't roll with it.
But also, what's the importance? What does your last name mean to you that you feel like that?
I'm just brainwashed. I can admit it. It's all programming. It's like I can't.
Yeah.
I just want me to live myself and my kid don't have my last name.
Yeah.
Like, type of bitch ass man am I? Toxic masculinity. Like, that's all it is.
I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I just think my last name is cool. Like I just Maples. I always like my last name, so I would want to give that to a kid if I had one. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think I would definitely be open to hyphenating though. Like. I don't know.
More hyphen. Yeah, you're right. It's going to complicate the word.
Yeah, but then it's like, which one do you pick?
III,
yeah, I don't know. I wish like kids were old enough to just come out the womb, or intelligent enough to come out the womb and be like, I want that name. Mm-hmm. Give me that. That sounds pretty cool. We gonna rock with that.
More about yourself. What is like a petty type thing that you can about yourself you can admit?
It's petty.
So like, for instance, me, right?
Vulnerability.
So, yeah,
I'm a Scorpio. You can't be doing this to me.
So the other day, me and my girl, we came to a halt. We had a little argument, whatever. And it was like a bunch of little things building up to like a big thing, whatever. But one of the little things in the mix was, it was like the whole day went past, we were just chilling, relaxing, watching TV. It was raining now. And I'm the type of person who was like, once I'm settled, I don't like moving without.
Especially
I don't want to. Yeah, like don't tell me to do something. I don't like moving. Once I'm settled in, like I've done that my whole life. But she was like, just randomly, she was like, and mind you, where we live, there's a gas station right across the street. She was like, can you go to a gas station and give me some ice cream? I was like, no, I'm not going. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm not going across the street and get you fucking ice cream at 10 p.m. when it's raining and I've been sitting here for 8 hours straight. No, I'm done. I'm in my drawers. I'm not putting on clothes. False.
See, this is where you gotta hit her with the flex and be like, I got you, babe. I'm about to go puff you a pint. Neither one of us gotta leave. That's when you gotta hit her with the flex. You gotta have a special savings account just for stuff like that.
I was just so appalled. I was like, how dare you ask? I didn't have no smooth flex shit to say. I was like, what? It's raining?
I don't know. Was she on her cycle? You might have had to do it.
Like I said, it was a bunch of little things leading up to that. So that was like the final straw anyway. That was like a big blow up. So I can admit though, that's I can say that's even a flaw of mine. It's like, I don't give a fuck, I'm not moving. It better be an emergency for me to get up out the spot. Get me on the way in.
So a petty thing that I do, in what scenario? Just in general?
Just in general. Some people like, yo, that's petty to me, but it's my character. It's my character. It's a trait of mine.
Oh.
Come on, speak your truth.
I'm about to throw up everywhere.
Peel the layer.
I'm about to throw up everywhere right now. No, I'm kidding. Oh, there's so many. I really try my best, actually, not to be a petty person when I can be. When I can help it, rather.
Gotcha.
Yeah, when I can help it. I'm trying to think.
It's something right there. You just don't want to say it. It's right there.
No, it's not. I'm trying to think, because right now I feel like my pettiness only comes out when I'm being passive aggressive to my manager. There's nobody else that I interact with. Yeah, and we have conversations about this, so that's why I'm really trying to think of a good one. Because I'm really trying to actively stop. Because that's the person that right now that I probably interact with most. On a daily basis. Like I don't really talk to people like that to be petty, or to be innocent. Yeah, like I don't know. I guess fuck. This is a really good question. It's caught me off guard.
I try.
What do I do?
You want to pass? Come back?
Nah, because if we talk about something else, I'm not even gonna think about this. So we're gonna come back.
Yeah, I just said
right here.
Like, we won't come back to it. We won't.
All right, so one thing that I do, I think, damn, I haven't done this in a while though. So I saw a tweet once, a thread about how the silent treatment was like emotionally abusive.
I did see that as well. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm sick of y'all Twitter therapists. Like,
yo, let me tell you, that might be petty in certain situations, but sometimes it saves my ass. I can ignore the fuck out of anybody. You could be sitting right here in my face, I would ignore you, and it'll be so natural. Like, I've had friends, really good friends actually, that we're still cool, we're still friends, but in the past, like, I've given them the ill silent treatment in a crowded room, and they're right here staring at me, and I'm just like, yeah, like, you know, like, just, yeah, and I think that's really petty. And when I saw that thread about how the silent treatment could be really emotionally abusive, because some people are really triggered by being ignored, I was like, all right, let me stop doing that. But I think I still do it.
Yeah, I will say, only person, you know, this won't sound crazy, the only person I really ignore is, like, my girl. Because if she's coming at me,
yeah, that do sound really crazy.
No, it's because I don't like arguing. So it's like I don't
you.
like petty, dumb arguing. So if you come at me with some energy that's like I didn't call for, I didn't really do nothing to deserve all this energy.
Word.
I'm not going to give it back to you
Word.
initially. Then you know whatever.
Word.
But it's like I'm gonna just ignore you. Like or like let's say we already argued and everything got out, whatever. You know, most girls y'all like to just keep going though. Like we could be not even with each other no more. I done went somewhere. You still text me. Oh, okay.
You know one thing I do that is kind of like a reflex.
I'm not gonna give this energy back.
Where you know one thing I do that's kind of like a reflex. Now I'm thinking about it. I vent on Twitter, and I know that can be perceived as petty, but I'm really not talking shit. Like that's not my intention. But it's like sometimes, like I have best friends, I have really close friends, I have good friends, I have good people around me. But sometimes I feel like some things aren't worth creating a conversation about with another person. Yeah. So I have the conversation with myself on Twitter. Yeah, or I'll just be like, damn, I hate this. Like when somebody do X, Y, and Z and somebody just did that to me. And it's not like I'm talking shit, but like I thought about it and now I ruminate because I'm a ruminator. Like I try to stop, but I think that's just me being petty to myself. I ruminate, I let things fester. And like if some shit goes on with me, I might not talk about it for the first 3 hours, but then I've been thinking about it for 3 hours. So now I'm gonna say something on Twitter. And now it looks really petty, but that's not my intention to be petty. I don't really want that person to see that, respond to it, or feel no type of way about it or internalize it. But I see how that can be petty, and I be trying to stop, but it's kind of like a reflex. Like,
gotcha. Okay, interesting. Yeah. What would you say you've learned about relationships, or whatever? Cause I can say,
oh, so much.
Yeah, come on, peel some layers back some more.
Oh, I'm gonna throw up, projectile vomit at 135-degree angle.
I can say like one thing for me, I've learned that you know I can't, cause I'm a very literal person, So I've learned throughout the years that women aren't that literal for the most part. But I remember one time the girl I was talking to, I wanted to hit so bad in high school, but she was one of the girls that always had a boyfriend. And I was like, but every time I thought I had a window, it was like, oh, she had a boyfriend. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And then we would have flirting moments, but then she would just, what she would always do is that would annoy me. She would bring her boyfriend in conversation. I'm like, bitch, are you like playing boyfriend in my face or trying to give me the curve or something? So years later,
sound like she just liked your attention.
So years later, of course, she had another boyfriend, but now I've grown and matured and had experiences, and I'm like, this bitch want me. And I ended up hitting anyway, and she ended up telling me, because she had to do, she was telling me, yeah, you could have been had it, but you know, like, you know, you never really expressed it. I was like, well, you told me you had to do every fucking time. So that was just one example I realized that women is like, even when they mad at you just saying shit, it's not literally just talking, or they just like, I feel a lot of times you just gotta,
I don't know.
They don't really want to go with what they want or really want to say. They just like kind of like being around the bush a lot of times, or I don't know.
Not all women. I feel like I'm a very direct communicator, but I know that sometimes when I'm feeling something intensely, like if I'm really excited, I speak in hyperbole. So I'll be like, wow, that's the best thing ever. But in actuality, it's fucking not. Like I'm just excited about it in that moment.
She said about the podcast.
No.
By the way,
no, I actually really was really excited. I am still really excited. But
yeah, hyperbole was, this is my first ever.
No, that's why I was like, wait, let me sit here and think about it, because like again, just in talking to my manager, we communicate a lot on a daily basis. Like he's one of those people that like, you mean what you say, I'm gonna hear that. So like I would speak in hyperbole and he'd be like, but I thought you meant, and I would be like, no, I was excited about it, but I wasn't serious.
Super.
Yeah,
it wasn't like the best moment of my life, no.
But I guess one thing I've learned about relationships, one great thing, I'm trying to drop a gem because it's been a lot. I had my first like real serious relationship last year. It lasted a little under a year.
Okay.
But since then, like that experience in general was like really transformative for me. And even now, after just the things that I've learned and applying those into my everyday life, now that I'm not particularly dating again, but now that I'm just talking to people and having interpersonal relationships with more people as my brand is growing, like those things that I learned in my romantic relationship still apply in other areas. And I guess that's one thing that I really learned about relationships. Is that they're all the same. They're different. A relationship is a contractual agreement, so like the things that are in this contract might be akin to a romantic relationship or a friendship or a business relationship, but at the end of the day, relationships are all the same. And if you can look at them the same way, it makes them so much easier to navigate. If you can just look at them for what they are. I guess, like, I'm trying to think examples. I don't really have a great example that I want to share. But yeah, like I guess the biggest thing that I've learned, and like I've always kind of known this, but the biggest thing that I've been able to apply lately is that relationships are contracts. And I feel like a lot of people get into romantic relationships, and that's when cheating and other things go on, because people don't see romantic relationships as contracts. People don't talk about what they want their contract to entail before they get into a friendship or a romantic relationships. But people do that with business relationships. We talk about the paperwork. We talk about what work you're going to do, what's your part, what's my part. All relationships should be treated like business relationships. And in a business relationship, a lot of people, or at least I was brought up to think that, you know, business is business and that's it. But no, like, you, to a certain extent, unless you're dealing with some type of crazy ass, big ass corporation where there's no person to build a relationship with, when you're me as a brand, when I'm building a relationship, a business relationship, especially with another brand, I eventually want to break bread with that person. I want to, you know what's good with them. You know, I don't have to know their life story or the hardest thing they're going through right now, but to a certain extent there has to be some type of vibing, connection, some type of connection, because this goes back to the whole difference between clout chasing and networking. Like, building a real network involves knowing who's in your network, knowing what they're, being able to support them and make sure it's a value for value thing. And I feel like same thing in friendships, same thing in romantic relationships, same thing even with acquaintanceships. Like, that's shortened to a certain extent because we're only acquaintances, but there still has to be some type of vibe for me to want to establish an acquaintanceship with you. There still has to be some type of contractual agreement where there are healthy boundaries set. And I feel like a lot of people navigate life without setting healthy boundaries for themselves, and that makes it even harder to respect other people's boundaries. That's where the whole beating around the bush, not really being direct thing becomes a detriment, because you're not setting healthy boundaries for yourself. So now your relationships are kind of all in the gray area. But boundaries should be very clear in any relationship and anything going on, and that makes it easy for the person not to cross that boundary. And it makes it easier for you to cut that person off, because if you set this boundary and it's clear and you guys discussed it, this person is repeatedly crossing this boundary, then clearly they're showing you that they don't give a fuck. Breach a contract, exactly. So
lawsuit, bitch.
Word, exactly. Like, or I'm gonna have to slap the shit out you. Like,
I look back, I feel like you just read that girl for some filth. That's what I'm saying, because she had no boundaries. Like, back then we doing
Wait, who?
The girl I'm talking about, the story I referenced.
Yeah. Wait, what girl?
I said that had a dude, but she.
Yeah. I didn't mean to, but yeah, that was the example.
Read her for filth.
Yeah, no, like
she had no boundaries. She was doing wild shit.
Yeah.
Whatever. But and I really, that really resonated with me, because like a lot of my friends, a lot of guys that I know, they be in real relationships and cuff with no laid contract agreement and terms, because I feel like a lot of men just stumble into relationships because women was pressing them the whole time. Like, I'm your girl, whatever. And they be like, all right, whatever.
But then that's up to the dude too to be like, no, I want to. This is what I want, and this is what I don't want, or I don't know what I want. So we're not talking about this right now. Yeah.
But they just go with the flow. And the woman, she know what she want. Her shit laid and clear, and she gonna push it onto you, and then you're gonna drive each other crazy because you ain't agree to these terms. Yeah. She thought you did. And
or somebody's hurt now because they had an idea of what the contract was, and you breached that contract in their mind, but y'all never had a discussion to be on the same page to begin with.
That was my third page.
Word. So that, and one thing I'm really learning about relationships now is intent. Intent is very important. Sometimes it's everything, and sometimes it means nothing. And sometimes when dealing with people, you have to consider the why. Why are they acting like this? Why are they being like this? Sometimes it's very important to focus on that why, and sometimes it's not important at all to focus on that why. Why doesn't fucking matter, because it's what they're doing. That's regardless of why, what they're doing is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess just that discernment when it comes to intent is something that I'm learning now, and I'm having to deal with a lot, just with other people. Sometimes somebody can have good intent, and their intent doesn't mean shit because you still fucked up, like, you know. So I don't know. It's a fine line between like what to pay attention to and when, I guess. But those are two big things I'm learning about relationships.
Okay, cool. I like that. Another thing that's like a narrative that's been going around recently on social media and shit is like we all had the same 24 hours.
Oh my god, I saw that last night and it made me so mad.
So what do you think about that?
Wait, now I gotta go on Twitter because this one lady dog, she just was going off. She made this like, it was a nice, concise like 4-tweet thread, but it was just about how the Western world brainwashes us because, well, I'm not gonna go and look for it now because I just tweet too much and I know I'm gonna be scrolling. Yeah, but she basically said like, your 24 hours is not the same as someone who has kids and has to care for children and has to come home and cook food and has to commute to work. You know, people that have to commute on public transit don't have the same 24 hours as private jet owners. People who have domestic staff, you know, don't have the same 24 hours as someone who has to do all of their child and housework, you know, themselves. So like, I really have been just thinking about like the Western world and how we had this whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps, Horatio Alger shit, and it's bullshit. Like, it's really bullshit, because if hard work really got you to the top, think about all of the people who are in service positions that have been working hard for the last 50 years, who now are, you know, and the people who are getting into service work who hope to work at the same job for 50 years that might not even see Social Security or a pension by the time they get to that age. So like, it's really it's something I feel like the Western world, these phrases, because there are a bunch of them everywhere about how you gotta just blah 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 and this is what you do and there it is, that's the formula. Yeah, like 24 hours, like everybody has the same 24 hours what you do. Like, I feel like that stuff is it can be empowering for some people. It can be really, really empowering. But for other people, it can be really disempowering, because it's like, yo, you're saying that I have this 24 hours, but I have these things that this other person doesn't.
Or how about when niggas break down in math? They were like, this many, they like, you work 8 hours a day, and you could, they be like, they do this, they break down the whole week. There's this many hours in a week. 40 week hours.
No.
You sleep this. You only need to sleep this amount.
I mean,
you eating for 5 minutes. It's like,
know,
you can
like,
work out for 30 minutes.
No,
It's like, oh, okay, word. Okay.
If you go to work for 8 hours, and most people I know are not working 8-hour shifts. They're working 10-hour shifts. So if you go to work for 8 to 10 hours, and then you need to get adequate sleep for 8 hours, which most people already are not doing, that's already 16 to 18 hours out of your day. So all you have left is 6 hours, which is a lot cumulatively. There
we go.
There you go. But I don't know, like, I don't know. I just feel like that rhetoric can be really harmful, because it's a way to, it's really elitist, it's really classist to a certain extent, because because the working class, like, some people are working 40, 50, 60 hours a week and they're not getting anywhere. They're just surviving, and they're focused on surviving. And some people, you know, they work and they work and they work and they come home and they knock out, and then they have kids to take care of, and then they have to worry about, okay, like, I did all this work, but now I got all these bills to pay, I got this debt to pay. And debt is a whole, you know, our bills, our physical money already comes indebted, so there's no way to really escape debt to a certain extent. Everybody's in debt, and especially in this country. So like, I don't know, like I said, I feel like it can be really empowering for some people, but for other people it can be really disempowering. And I really feel like the whole we all have the same 24 hours is a myth. It really is.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. What was I about to say? Well, also on that note, got you. Just real quick, what do you think about raising kids to chase a passion versus, nah, you can do that, but make sure you have a plan B in that whole sentiment? Need to sum it up real quick.
I think
A lot of people are like, no, like, okay, you good at that, you're passionate at it. All right, well, let's see where it goes. Some people are like, no, you love that, you good at it. Let's go for that shit, all chips in type thing.
I think it's good to expose kids to a lot of things, expose them to their passion to their fullest extent, but then expose them to something totally unrelated. Expose them to other things, and they might discover another passion. You know what I'm saying? Kids are so hard because, like, my brother and sister are 9 and 7 right now. My sister actually turns 8 next week. But it's so funny because my brother, he's really technical. He loves cars. He loves technical stuff. He likes doing stuff with his hands. My sister's really active, but at the same time, she just likes watching TV all day. She don't want to go outside. And my dad is always like, she don't know what she likes. She don't know what type of TV she like, blah, blah, blah. I feel like with kids like that, because everybody has a different type of kid. Some kids are really, if your kid is really gung-ho about, no, I want to do this, and they're sure, go for that. All chips in. But if you have a kid that's kind of like, I like this right now, but now I like this next month, or I don't really like anything, those are the kids that you really gotta flood with stimulation. Flood them with everything. All types of cool stuff that you think could be cool. Stuff that you may not think is cool, that they might think is cool, you know? I don't know. That's really weird. It's different person to person, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because a lot of people, especially those who are like, you know, Generation Y type people, whatever, when they have kids, they be like, yeah, like, I've heard people say like, yeah, that's cool for a hobby and all, but like, you know, let's see where it goes first. We got to see some product before I really start even believing or seeing something about it. Like, you know, Will always told the story that when he was rapping shit like that, they're like, I don't give a fuck about that. You go to school, and then he's like, all right, if you don't make it in a year, you going to school. You could take off for a year. If you don't make it by next summer or whatever, fall, you going to school. And he just happened to get signed right then and there, but if he didn't, who knows what would have happened, whatever.
I feel like those ultimatums kind of come from fear. And as parents...
All parents are in fear.
Yeah, parents can be fearful with their kids, though, because you instill that fear in your kid, and now you have a kid who's afraid to try new things as an adult. Like, one thing I'm really dealing with is unlearning a lot of the things that my parents unconsciously instilled in me. Things that no longer serve me, things that I want to get rid of. And fear of failure is one of those things. Yeah, I feel like it's really dangerous, even though parents care and those things are coming from a fearful place and a loving place as well. You can't be like that with kids. You have to realize that we live in a whole different time where 16-year-olds don't have to get factory jobs and have 6 o'clock shadows, and you know, and work in the cave mines and stuff. You know, we don't live in that era anymore. So now is the time where we should be fucking up. The first 20 years of our life is where we should be trying everything and fucking up, and because we're still able to come back home. You know, everybody's situation is different, but at least that's the way I've been living my life. I'm old enough to fuck up.
Fucking up
everywhere. I'm fucking up. I'm trying everything new, and I'm doing it because now is the time to do it, because later you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to have it together. You know what I'm saying? And it's never too late to have a fuck up time, you know, and just, I'm living life. I'm out here on my spontaneity shit, just trying new shit, trying to see what I love and what I like. I feel like a lot of people don't get that period though when they're young because they have fearful parents that's like, no, do this, go the safe route. But that essentially robs people of their childhood.
A lot of time.
Yeah, and life and just the vigor of life. So.
Okay. Did you enjoy yourself?
Yes! I'm still so excited.
It really was the best podcast ever.
It was the best podcast ever.
I really enjoyed this conversation.
Likewise.
You'll come back, no beef, we good?
Yeah, of course. Cool. I'll be back.
Alright, cool. So drop all your social, people know where to find you, and your coming events or anything like that.
So y'all can find everything at www.TheAkasha.us. That's TheAkasha.us. All of my socials are there. My SoundCloud, I got mixes there. I got my upcoming events, visual work, EPK, everything.
And don't forget the. So shout out, because she's a, you know, there's plenty of Akashas, but there's the Akasha.
Oh wait, when is this dropping?
Let's say 20 something. Either this Monday or the following Monday. No later than that though.
Okay, bet. I was going to promote a show that I got on Thursday, but that's too soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Sound good.
Alright, cool. So shout out to her. RightonQuelive, talk about it. We out. Thank you, miss.